Donna, I understand you are yet another person to have one of these spiritual experiences, something like I talk about on my own website, correct?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And I think you said when you wrote to me, it was like you were 12 years old at the
Yes,
time?
yeah. I was 12 years old.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us what went on. Tell us what happened.
Okay. I was 12 years old. I was alone. I was walking in a meadow on a beautiful day. It was a beautiful meadow. And it was just quiet except for the birds and all the beauty that was going on. And I wasn't really paying that much attention, but all of a sudden, I was just overwhelmed with this feeling that came over me out of the blue. And I just felt very joyous and amazed and wonderful and just in a wondrous state. And that I felt like all of a sudden I was with God. Um, I just felt like He was right there. I was with Him. It was it was just a beautiful, wonderful experience and feeling, and tremendous love and compassion and all the good feelings and joy and just very touched, and everything was just beautiful and perfect. And this lasted for I don't know. I don't really know. 5 minutes, 20 minutes. I don't really know. But I just felt wonderful for a time. And it, it wasn't like anything I've ever experienced again. I never had the experience again. I just felt like I was touched at that moment for some reason. And I don't know what it meant. I was only 12,
Yeah.
so I didn't have a lot of maturity to think about it about, but I thought about it all over the years. I did not tell anyone. Um, it was it was a very personal feeling and experience, and so I didn't share it. But I tried to understand it over the years, what it was and why it happened.
Well, let me explore that a little bit with you. So you're 12 years old, so you don't have the maturity really to compare it to very much of anything, being only 12 years old. But let me ask you this, just from what you can remember, um, how would you compare? What's the right term here? The term reality comes up to me. Uh, you and I are right now operating inside of what I tend to call the sensory world, or the world within our senses. It's the world our senses report to us. We see things and hear things, and this is this world. Okay. This other experience, would you characterize that as outside of this world or inside this world? How would you put words around that if you can?
I knew I was in the world. I didn't leave it. I was here, but everything, all the beauty was magnified, was increased tremendously. And the joyous feeling that came from this was so powerful that the tears just streamed down my face. Um, it was, I don't know that I left the world, but I felt like I was surrounded by God.
Yes. Well, okay. So these are all words and semantics. Yeah, I understand that. To some, God is outside this world. To reach God, you've got to somehow or other let go of this world. In fact, that was my experience. I didn't even know I was reaching God. I wasn't even trying to reach God. I just woke up one morning and I was so frustrated with the world and all the stuff I'd piled on myself to do, that I actually, this is my way of saying, is I let go of this world. I let go of it. And it's like God, or this presence, this ultimate love that you're talking about, was always there, kind of knocking on the door, waiting to get in until I put the rest of the debris, got the other stuff out of the way. How would you compare your experience to that, or could you?
Um, well, at the time, I don't know that I don't know how to express this exactly. It's very hard to talk about this because there aren't words really to describe it well.
Yeah, because nobody has any experience like this, and so we haven't built a vocabulary around it.
Right,
But
right. I
go.
was when this happened to me, I wasn't really thinking about anything worldly that I know of. Um, I was just enjoying the peacefulness
Yeah.
of the moment. I think being there in that meadow, and I describe it as God because I'm not a very religious, an organized religious type person. I'm spiritual because now I definitely believe there's God, but at that moment, I always thought of God as outside
Hmm.
of, like you say, up in heaven, that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
But this was, it was right there. It was right right there with me, all the love and the warmth and the beauty was just right there.
This may be a difficult question to ask because you were only 12 at the time. Okay. But I'm going to ask it anyway, and if you don't have an answer, that's fine. You don't have an answer, okay? In in that state, if you could recreate that state now, okay, and be in it, and not only be in it for the brief time you were there, but just make it a permanent kind of thing. It's like you're always in that state.
Mm-hmm.
Would disease be possible?
I don't see how it could be. No, I don't think it would be possible. This I guess the one of the best words I can think of to try to define this in what we're talking about right now is this was pure. This was as pure an experience of love and well-being as it's possible for a human to imagine.
Yes. Now, let me go a step further. Again, you're only 12, so you have to do what you can do with this, all right? It is my view, given my experience, and I've talked to others with experiences as well, that if I were able to get back to that state and maintain it, like I talked about with the previous question, and be in that sense of pure love, I would be radiating, if you will, love from God, from source, whatever you want to call it. I'd be radiating that ultimate pure sense of love. I could walk into a hospital. This is my view, okay? I could walk into a hospital and my mere presence would be healing. That is, some tumors would subside. Blood problems would clear up. Lungs would breathe better, and so on and so forth. Now, when I say that, I don't mean to say that Gary, would be doing that. It would be more like I am radiating this source of love, which is so intense and so pure, where disease is not possible, that it would be, funny term, but contagious in that sense and cause healing. Now, do you consider that possible, strange, out of the way, what?
No, I don't think it's impossible at all. But it would have to come from somebody that managed to find this ability to call it.
Yeah, yeah. That's the whole theory in it. If we can get there and maintain it, then these other abilities, if you want to call it that, become rather commonplace and rather easy. I don't want to put words in your mouth, though. How does that land?
Um, well, the first thing that comes to my mind is that tapping does that.
Well, yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, what tapping can tend to do, EFT can tend to do, is to take care of some of the strong emotional issues that we have that can contribute to a disease state.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm talking about using it even in a more advanced way where we not only help with that, but we get to the point where our mere presence does it in spades.
Yes, I think it's very possible. In fact, I knew a person at one time that kind of had that ability to a small degree.
Uh-huh.
He could touch people and make them better.
Well, I'm doing that myself in a way, but I want to make sure I get the right words here. I am acting as a conduit for Source in a way. I have been on Skype, for example, with a whole group of people thousands of miles away from me, and I asked the whole group, "How many of you, have some kind of physical ailment?" And a bunch of hands go up. And I don't even know what the ailments are. And I simply try as best I can to access that state in their behalf surrogately.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's what I'm trying to do. I don't even know where their pains or discomforts are. I have no idea. Okay? All I know is that there's some lack of peace in the system. And so I'm trying to bring that peace in myself and do it surrogately for all these other people. In one case, there were like 40 of them that had their hands raised. I did it 2 or 3 times, but 30 of them had a noticeable improvement from 3,000 miles away. No tapping, okay? Now,
Right.
to me, that's just a little bitty, tiny, put your toes in the water possibility for what's really possible here. It wasn't me doing it. I was just getting myself out of the way, so to speak, and letting it happen in this way that is so outside of our normal thinking,
Right. Right. It sounds like you're doing it already. Just maybe not to the full extent you want to, but I think you're probably already doing it, and it sounds like that to me, and it has sounded like that to me for a long time, especially when you talk about the surrogate tapping.
Yeah.
I never tried that a whole lot, but from coming from you, I would think it would be more powerful because you are so in tune with your spirit.
Well, what's interesting is that I don't know that I'm necessarily in tune with my spirit because I have nothing to compare it to. I'm not inside you, and I don't know how tuned you are or somebody else. It is my view, however, that I'm not anywhere near as in tune as I was when I had my revelation. I had my spiritual moment. I'm nowhere close to that. I mean, if that is like this, I'm like here someplace compared to that, okay? And with
Right.
that little bit, I'm able to do as a conduit this other stuff. I keep wanting to work on myself so that I get here and 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 see just how good I can go. And that's what optimal EFT is about. I'm trying to get to the point where we can start removing these blocks to this magnificent state. So more and more and more of us can do more and more and more of what I just said. Our mere presence becomes healing. I call it the pleasance of our presence. So,
Right.
any more thoughts on that?
Well, it's not something I pursued. I waited for it to happen to me again, the event. It never did. Of course, you never forget what it felt like.
Yeah.
But to get to that state again, I wouldn't even know how to begin. And it sounds like a huge journey. And I'm glad you're willing to take it on.
Well, stay tuned to our optimal EFT. There will be tools and ideas, etc., that you can borrow from if you wish. So you may find ways to tiptoe back in there and maybe jump in the swimming pool again. So we shall see. Anyway, Donna, most informative. Thank you so much for sharing your story with everyone.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.